Hey, it's Angus. What's up? Today on Modeler Monday, I am getting ready to do corporate and some other gigs, which I'm going to do using my FM3. So I figured it's time to spruce up my preset. I've still got it on AC 2025 cover for playing covers. Some of these gigs are covers, some are not. But the preset needs a little bit of updating. I updated the pedalboard slightly. You'll see here, just to look at the gear, I've got this pedalboard's been slightly rearranged. I put a power supply on it and this double IEC cable so that really I can plug one plug in off of this, because for corporates, really mostly you wind up with a situation where you're going into a place where they don't really want music there, so the less things you have to plug in, the better. So I hooked that up. I got this Coda Music stop to control the page turning on my iPad, and I'm going to be making a bunch of charts. I'll probably make a video about how I do that. I write them out by hand, and I use Turbo Scan and load them up into Fourscore. So that I got that working. Everything is working off of a CIOKS power supply that's under my wireless, and I'm using the Shure wireless, which is great. And I did one flight date with this rig so far this year, and I used this guitar, this JTG, which Mark I, which is a really great guitar. The guys at Tyler got it to me last year, and I'm putting it to use, and it's doing the job. I put it in my Access gig bag, and I just check it. So that's fine. This pedal board goes in a Pelican case that I can carry on, and I have a Patagonia MLC, maximum legal carry-on backpack that goes under the seat in front of me. So I'm pretty much all set up. So all I wanted to do was take this preset and make a 2026 version, update a couple of things that are important to the gigs that I'm doing. If we check out how this one works before I start moving it over into 2026, I've got a basic crunch sound. And the way the pedals work, I can access all 8 presets, and I'm going to go, so on this first button I can go from crunch to lead. And if I'll just pull up the amp right here so we can see what I had. And I'm using, this is, similar to what I have on the TSO stuff, right? It's crunch is an 800 2204 high input. Lead is the HBV1. On the second foot switch, I go clean, which is JTM 45. At that toggles with a Vox. It's kind of like an alternate crunch sound. Might be good for, somebody told me, with a little bit of wetness on it. Okay, and then over on this one, I've got a wet clean. And I think a wetter lead. Oh, kind of a slapbacky lead. And that's a kind of a medium lead, JTM 45 with the drive. It's kind of a vintage lead kind of a sound. And then to get singing's 4 and 8, long press over here, and that gets. And this ambient setting. Let's see if that's on this. And there you can see how I've programmed the pedal. Like if I go to the regular lead sound here, this is probably a wah. I'm hoping it's a wah. And it turns off in the toe down position. And then if I go to another setting that it uses the volume pedal, like the Clean Clouds one, you can see the volume block come on. So those are the kind of the gimmicks of this. That's how I can get all 8 presets on the one, just on the FM3 foot switches, and how I can use the pedal for both a volume and a wah. If you're not familiar with those two elements, it's about setting. It's a setting here in the wah block. It's here in the control. Double click. I had a tech who was always like, don't do the double finger click thing, man. You'll forget and you won't know what you're doing the next time you pull it open. But I remembered because it gives you that little yellow dot, you know, and that's important. Okay, so what this is doing is it's on channel A, and that's the important thing. And so it only works when this is on channel A. And so if I go to another setting, like if I go to the Clean Clouds setting, you'll see the wah-wah is now on channel B. And where it's on a setting like lead, where I use the wah, it's on channel A. And then you just have to remember what you're doing with your volume block, because I do the same thing over here. It only works when it's on channel B, and it doesn't work when it's on channel A. Yeah, so so this is on channel A right now, and if I go to Clean Clouds, where it's operating, or sorry, Clean Clouds, it's operating, it's on channel B. So yeah, that's how you set that up. And I just keep it toe down, because that way, if it's on that facilitates using it as a volume pedal, and then I just remember that for the wah-wah pedal. Some people are big into the, keeping it heel down, but if I'm just like, if it has the potential to be a volume pedal, I'm gonna leave it in the up position. Otherwise, I'll be like, turn to it, and then suddenly my sound will go away, and I'll be like, what did I just do? Oh yeah, now the pedal is a volume pedal. See what I'm saying? Don't confuse yourself. So, okay, so that's that trick. All right, so that's the current setup. And is it Dynacabs? Is Dynacabs everywhere? I think it's Dynacabs everywhere. Yep. Yeah, Dynacabs everywhere. So, using the Friedman V30s. And what did I do? I did panning, so they're identical, basically, in all the presets. What do I want to do for 2026? Because this basically works. Well, I don't think that the knob swell and the Clean Clouds are really that great for cover band stuff. I think what I do need is the, the wet clean. If I had to do Shut Up and Dance With Me by Walk the Moon, this is maybe not quite as aggressive a delay as I want, I might want a really something where I'm really committing to that playing off the delay thing. So I think I'm going to replace either knob swell or Clean Clouds with a really legitimate dotted eighth delay thing. So let's get over in the editor here, and I'll show you kind of how I do do this to move forward a year and update. Here we go. And yeah, I'm wearing my glasses. Here in the editor, I'm going to go to preset and I'm going to say save a copy, and I'm going to save it right next door here in 391. And I am going to just label it with the 26. And what did I say I wanted to do? I'm going to take scene 4, which was the knob swell setting, and I'm going to set that up. I'm going to copy the wet clean over to there. Yeah, I'm going to copy. So scene, copy, current scene to scene 4. Check my current delay. It's analog mono. That's a good choice. That's a solid choice. I'm good with that. I'm going to set up the mix to 45. Let's check it out. If I'm going to do the pitch detune thing, I'm not going to worry about the thing I typically do where I use a corrective EQ on it. I'll just change the architecture here and go without this boost. I'll figure out a different way to do the boost. I'm going to ditch this guy. You're out. Move it over, move it over, move it over. Yep. And here, and Virtual Capo, turn it off, connect this stuff. Okay, so now the CPU limit is exceeded everywhere you go. So I took a little break in the recording because I encountered that problem with the CPU usage. I've been working on this ever since I updated to the current firmware. Some of the architecture on my presets needs to be streamlined in order to work. It's debatable if I need to go to an FM9 or if I should just get a turbo FM3, but I think I should just streamline what I've got and see what happens with the next gen from Fractal. So in order to streamline it, I had a couple design choices. If you saw my previous version of these presets, I was using a graphic EQ block as a level boost. So I got rid of that, as we saw, because I'm going to use this pitch block. When I added the pitch block, that's when the problem started, even though it's not even turned on. But I have all the reverbs are on the economy setting. So there's no real way to save there unless I change from kind of like a large haul to a medium haul or something like that. Maybe I can conserve. But I just made a couple of slight tweaks and it all seems to be working now. So we're hoping that that's going to stick. But what I want to get back is a way of doing a boost. And the way I decided to do that, it's not exactly the same, because what I was doing was just a level boost after the amp, and that's what I had that graphic EQ block for. So what I'm doing, is there a way to use the volume pan block for that? No. Okay. What I decided to do is I'm going to use, if I go to the ideal or the preamp tabs, you have access to this boost here, and depending on which amp it is, I'm going to make a choice about what boost I want in there. At this point, it's tomorrow. This is still Modeler Monday. I just happen to be filming this on a Tuesday morning because I got to a point in this where I felt like I was under time pressure and I wasn't going to really do what I wanted in terms of what I want to give you folks for a preset at the end of this, and I had to sleep on it, and I dreamt about it, because that's what happens when you go to sleep worrying about something, and not worrying, but anyway, and I came up with two solutions. One thing is that I want to restructure where the presets are on the foot switch, so that it's kind of like all the clean settings are under one foot switch, all the crunch are under one foot switch, and all the lead are under one foot switch, like that. I want to restructure that, so I'm going to take us through how we do that. And then I was really bothered with my boost solution, because I don't really want to use the amp input boost. I wanted a boost at the output section, and I was like, how do I do that? Well, since I was working through how to use the input EQ on the amp block to do the tilt EQ to fix the Virtual Capo, I decided to look at the output EQ and see if there was a solution there for what I want to do with just this 3 dB boost on a foot switch, and I figured it out. So now we're all the beneficiaries of that. So let me just take you through that. And keep in mind, all of this that I'm doing, the reason why I'm learning this now is because I have removed blocks from my preset in order to economize CPU. So let's look at this. We're going to look at it on the clean sound, and we'll look at what we did. We're going to remove that, and we're going to input my new solution. So my original solution was to put the control switch so that it was affecting this boost. So you can see here on the clean amp, this boost is currently on, but I've already removed the functionality. So I'm just going to turn that boost off. And now I'm going to go over here to the output EQ, and I am going to select a very simple EQ, just the 3-band console. I'm going to set all 3 bands to 3 dB. Okay. And then I'm going to go here, and I think I already set this up. Yeah. Okay. So this goes across. I set this up. The control switch 1 is controlling turning this output EQ on or off. So now if I press my switch, boom, on and off. So instead of getting the whatever the input boost was, which wasn't really what I wanted, I'm getting just 3 dB boost in the output of the amp block. So say you want to do, let's say, like the neck pickup on this guitar doesn't have as much juice as the bridge like you have on a lot of super strats. So let's say I'm here. So then I got the volume that I want just on the neck pickup, etc. And, you know, we're guitar players. We're always going to wind up feeling like, oh, I could just use a little bit more of me right now. And so that's what this is about. So let me just change it on all the amp blocks. So that's clean amp. That's clean. Wow, a lot of stuff on the JTM 45. Okay, that's channel C. Let's go to 3-band console. Let's go to 3, 3, 3. Let's make sure that this boost is off. Yep, that's correct. Okay, say that there. Let's go to this one. This boost is off. Output EQ. 3-band console. 3, 3, 3. And this is set. Yep, control switch 1. Save that. This boost is off. Output EQ. This one's already done. This one. It's done. Okay. So done on all 4 channels of the amp block. I've got my little boost. So let's see, let's check it out. There you go. Okay, solve my own problem. Thank you for your patience with me. And then, as I was saying, I wanted to reorganize the foot pedal a little bit, and I decided what I'm going to do with that overly wet clean clouds patch. I'm going to create a wet crunch sound. So kind of a crunch sound with a little more schmutz on it, if you will. I might even use the lead amp, so it'd be kind of like a higher gain. For me, this one's kind of classic gain right here. Okay, I could do some AC/DC on that and stuff, but if I'm doing Whitesnake, I might want a little more. So, but first let's move things around. Or actually, I'm going to copy the crunch. And, you know, if you haven't done this kind of procedure before, you can check it out. So I'm going to copy crunch to scene 8. Copy current scene to scene 8. Boom. I'm going to save it. And so just for kicks, I'm just going to turn this delay on right now and change it to wet crunch. Okay, and maybe some chorus, right? But I might try the lead amp instead. Okay, kind of cool. I might just want to play with the. Well, anyway, let me put it in the place I think I want it. So, okay, so now navigating the switch, crunch it up. Now I'm feeling pretty good. So the modeler Monday extension into Tuesday is worth it. Sometimes it's always good to sleep on it. I will very often manipulate scene levels over here to get things evened out, and that's something that I may have to tweak while I'm on stage or at sound check in order to make sure, because, you know, sometimes clean sounds, they spread out so much that you're not getting good gauge on the relative levels. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I will take this preset saved as it is and save a copy right next door. And then with that copy, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to go scene ignore. Then on the amp, I'm going to go to the input EQ, go to this tilt EQ, and just do like 1 dB, I think, something like that. And there you go. I love it that this thing can do that. That's one thing I checked when I encountered the problem with the firmware. I checked out what I could do with just an AM4, and it doesn't have a pitch block, so can't do it there. I've tried the the Digitech drop, and no offense to, I know a lot of folks swear by that and other Digitech products. I find the level of kind of tone suck that I get from putting something from that company on my board to be unbearable. And then the Electro-Harmonix Pitchfork. I love Electro-Harmonix. I think the guys and gals at Electro-Harmonix, their ears are tuned up right. Like, they know it sounds good. You know, like if you get an EH pedal, it will primarily make you sound better. Pitchfork, I think, was a reach for them, and there has always been a certain level of compromise in the construction at Electro-Harmonix that, you know, is fine at that price point. And as good as they sound, it's like you just replace them, you know. But anyway, that pedal failed on me, so still love Electro-Harmonix. So I know that Boss has one out now, and I'll probably get that to throw on like my analog board. But the way that the FM3 does it, and being able to fix it with a little bit of EQ and kind of level stuff so that you don't notice it as much, really makes it a winner. So that's kind of like where this, you know, of all the things that you want a modeler to do, like crazy stuff, like that one, the fact that it simply does it in a very clean and usable way is kind of what is one of the reasons that keeps me coming back. So anyway, shout out to the FM3, still a great unit, and probably going to be using it for at least the next 2 years, right? We'll see when the next thing comes out. I'm very excited. I know it's supposed to have like neural amp model capture and stuff like that, which will be new and different. But for right now, we're still making this work. I think that's it. Okay, so thanks for your patience for having Monday come on a Tuesday, but it's fine. I'm trying to grow the channel, and it's taking a lot of work to get these done in a manner that I find, you know, professional enough and worth watching for my viewers. So I really appreciate you sticking with me. And again, AngusClarkGTR.com if you want to check out my course. I really appreciate it. And I also have merch available, which is called Got Licks. It's like Got Milk, but Got Licks. And anything you can do to keep the message alive, that guitar is fun, and the more we learn from each other, the better we all get. And I just hope you have a great week, or maybe I'll just see you later today on Technique Tuesday. Take care, have fun, be kind.